Hello?
Hi, Chris.
Yes?
Yes, this is Steve Jewin from MMA Mania. How are you today?
Not too bad, not too bad. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Hey, let me just clear up right off the bat, because when I talked to Lance Palmer a few days ago, he kept saying Horodecki. I thought it was Horodecki. Who's got it right?
The actual pronunciation is Horodecki, but it is what it is. People call me everything, man. It's all good.
See, I come from the Midwest, and we have a lot of people of Polish descent out here, so I've always said it Eski like that when I see it. So
Yeah. It's, you get used to it, though. Enough times hearing it, so it doesn't really matter. People know who I am.
Oh, they do indeed. I mean, you're called the Polish Hammer. I think after a 10-plus year career in mixed martial arts, most people know who you are by now.
Exactly.
So how does it feel getting this title shot against Lance Palmer? What are your thoughts on this fight?
Exciting, man. I'm very grateful for, World Series giving me the opportunity. They obviously see something in myself. And, Lance is, he's a true champion. He won the belt. He deserving this championship belt. And, to have this opportunity in front of Canadian fans, it gives me, huge motivation, a huge drive in my training, and I'm ready to become the champ of the World Series.
So you're saying it's extra special to you that it's in Edmonton then, as opposed to like if you had the fight in Vegas or Arizona?
Oh, 100%. It's always nice fighting in Alberta. Not even Alberta, but I've done well fighting in Alberta. I've won all my fights when I've traveled to Alberta, and specifically, Canada itself. It means a lot to me. You know what I mean? I love fighting in Canada. We got, some of the best fans, some of the best fighters, and, some of the best promotions right here in the country. So it's just icing on top of the cake.
See, this is something I go back and forth with my co-host from on Glove Up or Shut Up, because he's from Ottawa, and he always says that in the United States, when fight fans are from specific cities, they root for the fighter just in that city. But he says in Canada, anywhere in Canada, you're going to root for that guy.
Yeah, pretty much, especially if you're fighting, a foreigner. Canadians support Canadians. There's a lot of pride.
I always hear that, but then I always wonder, Quebec's a little different, it seems like sometimes things in Quebec...
Yeah, no, Quebec, well, that's one thing. You do got different regions of the country as well. If you start mixing into Canada versus Canada, when you get to the local boys, Ontario boys, then there's Quebec boys, and there's the Maritime East Coast boys, Vancouver boys, so there is discrepancy with that, for sure.
Okay, so there is still rivalry, but you'll, like you said, when it's somebody fighting a foreigner, they're going to root for the Canadian first and foremost every time. And
Absolutely.
yeah. So how is the training going? How is the preparation going, getting you ready for this big fight?
It's going fantastic, man. I'm down here at TriStar Gym in Montreal, putting in work. It's the perfect camp for an opponent like Lance. There's wrestling, there's jiu-jitsu, and some of the best in the world, all, overlooked by Faraz Zahabi. So, it's perfect, man. It's perfect. I've been coming here for the past 2 years since my coach Sean Tompkins passed away. A little bit longer than that. A little bit longer. I've been coming here 2.5 years, I would say. And it's gone really well. I love the fit. I love the gym, and I'm ready to showcase what I've been doing over here.
Well, I'm glad you brought up Sean, actually, because something I wanted to ask you about, but I wasn't sure how to approach the question. And I was friends with him on Facebook before he passed away, and it was one of those bucket list interviews that I wanted to do and never got around to, and I can't now. It's too late, of course, but it's been hugely emotional for anybody that worked with him, trained with him. All the people that were mutual friends of his with mine always said what a fantastic guy he was, what a nice guy he was, one of the classiest guys in MMA, and you've been successful since he passed, but that's obviously been a huge emotional toll.
Oh yeah, very difficult. Before Sean had passed, I had done all my fights from the amateur days, you know what I mean? The kickboxing exhibition fights to fighting in Japan, kickboxing, and I don't know how many fights we did together as a pro in MMA, but every single fight he was in my corner. So that's a huge difference for myself. There was a bit of a transition phase. You saw in myself, Mark Hominick, Sam Stowe, we tried to just, keep it in-house and do it ourselves. And, we get a little bit of success. But then, I knew ultimately I had to travel like I always did. I've always traveled to Las Vegas. So I traveled out here to Montreal, and I like the fit here, and it's been working for me.
Yeah, it has. I mean, you're 3 out of your last 4. You got this title shot coming up. Things are rolling pretty well, but at the same time, like you said, as far as I understand it, you can correct me if I'm wrong, you actually got inspired to do MMA by going to a seminar of his when you were a kid. He wasn't just in your corner, he was in your life.
Oh, 100%. I met Sean when I was 13. You know what I mean? Me, Sam, and Mark all started training like pretty much at the same time. I was 13, Sam was 16, Mark was 19, and we all met each other, and that's where that brotherhood comes into play, because you're looking at over, how old am I now, 27, so you're looking at over 14 years, you know what I mean, as a group, so it's a long time, and Sean meant so much to me, in and out of the ring, you know what I mean. I stood up with him when he got married, you know what I mean, and sad to say, I was there when he died, you know what I mean, as well. So it's tough. It's an emotional roller coaster, and I never forget him, and there doesn't go a day when I don't think about him.
And I think everybody that still fights, that trained with him or worked with him, carries that legacy forward, that he's still making a positive impact now, even though he's no longer with us.
100%.
Going back to Lance Palmer, when you look at his abilities and you look at Team Alpha Male versus the training that you have done and that you're doing currently at TriStar Gym, what's the one thing you look at and focus on the most?
It's no secret. He's skilled all around. The camp he comes from, Team Alpha Male, they're strong everywhere. They're most known for their wrestling, you know what I mean, unorthodox striking, and jiu-jitsu skills. There's no secret. You know what I mean? I've seen how he fights. I've seen how his teammates fight. They all got a pretty similar style. And I got a huge amount of respect for that. And I mean, for his skill set. I'm doing everything in my power to prepare for it. And you're bringing the best Chris Horodecki you're going to see on fight night.
Well, you mentioned their ground game and their jiu-jitsu, and, they're obviously known for those chokes, but you've only been submitted one time in your entire career, so I have to think that may not be their best strategy, is to try to choke you out.
Yeah, I'm prepared, man. Like, people think people could think I'm still just a striker, you know what I mean? It's 2015. You gotta know everything. Right. You gotta know how to punch and kick. You gotta know how to grapple. You gotta know how to throw on an armbar, so.
Now, as for the weight class, featherweight's something that's relatively recent in your career, and how do you feel about making that cut? How is it a hard cut? Is it an easy cut? What is it like for you?
No, it's good. It's where I needed to go. You know what I mean? There's no surprise. The sport, the way the athletes are coming, every weight class is people are getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and every advantage you can get, such as drop into a lighter weight class, you got to do. You know what I mean? I don't necessarily think that it's the be all end all, but it does give you an advantage for sure. And dropping to 45 is what I needed to go in my career. Just focused me to be more disciplined further out in training, with diet and all that. But no, it's not going to be a super difficult cut. You know what I mean? I feel good. I've done well at this weight, and I think it's where I need to be.
Everybody's looking for that competitive advantage these days, and we see some guys that fight at lightweight and featherweight that are 6 feet tall and up, and that kind of strikes me as being not only amazing but borderline unsafe. Like, at what point does getting a competitive advantage outweigh the risk of shutting down your kidneys? Yeah,
that's the thing. People got to remember there's life after fighting. You know what I mean? And the sport is so young that we haven't really had the old generation is now starting to come, and there's still guys kicking around. Ken Shamrock, you know what I mean? But he wasn't really a big weight cutter, but now you're going to start seeing the old generation, what type of effects they're going to have, and people got to know, you know what I mean? At the end of the day, you got to perform. That's what matters. It doesn't matter if you're going to be cutting 30 pounds, 40 pounds. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, what matters is how you perform and how you feel. and you hope to have some life left in you after fighting.
Right, yeah, you don't want to be one of the fighters that gets out too late after they've taken a bunch of knockouts in a row, and maybe the quality of life isn't so good after that.
No, absolutely, and then they're still hanging on, and they're still squeaking by. So, yeah, it's like I said, it's a tough gig, but I love it, and I still got some fight left in me.
That was actually going to be one of my other questions, too, because you're very young in this sport, but you've already been doing it for over 10 years. So how many more years do you see it going? Another 10? Another 15?
We'll see. They see I love the sport. I love competing. I'm still hungry. That's the thing that still keeps me in it. You know what I mean? I still love learning. I still love competing. I still get that rush. I still love the focus and you can see the improvements and how you compare yourself to week 1 to week 4 of training camp. You can see your skill set getting better. You can see the changes in your body. That's all stuff I still love, and I still got a passion for it. So while I still have a passion for this sport, I'm going to be here.
Well, speaking of that passion, I wonder, because the TriStar Gym obviously got very well known for the success that George St. Pierre had, and then he chose to walk away and vacate the welterweight title, but they still seem to have a lot of young, hungry, up-and-coming fighters in that camp who are having a lot of success. So do you feel like your passion and their passion is matched up well?
Oh, 100%. 100%. That's one of the great things about being here. I have such a broad spectrum of training partners. You know what I mean? Lance is a southpaw wrestler. Every single round I have against a southpaw wrestler and a different body type, like a different person, not a different body type. But, so it's perfect. It's like I have the perfect fit. The people here, there's obviously Rory McDonald, the challenger for the UFC championship. He's the big name coming up. But like, there's a lot of other names that are climbing through the ranks that people, either know or will know. You know what I mean? So that's what makes it such a good advantage to be here. Get all these training partners, have amazing coaching, not just with Faraz. Faraz obviously, runs the ship, but you have other coaches in kickboxing, my kickboxing trainer, Crew Ash, and then I have my conditioning coach, John Chamberg. So I have a bunch of different coaches that help me, and it all gets put together with Faraz, so it works really well.
One of the guys I'm following from TriStar right now is Olivier Aubin-Mercier, and I keep telling people that he's going to be a champion someday, and the way he's fighting is incredible in his last couple of fights. So what are your thoughts when you see him at the gym?
Yeah, Olivier's a stud. He's a stud. He's, fights at 55. He's notorious for his, ground skills, his wrestling, and now his striking's getting better. You know what I mean? He's improving by leaps and bounds, and, the UFC loves him. They like him. And I think he got a specific Reebok deal, that whole Reebok thing. So it's good. It's good for him. He's on the right path.
Speaking of that Reebok thing, that's obviously changed the game for a lot of fighters. Obviously it doesn't affect anybody that's in World Series fighting right now, but at the same time, I could see other organizations trying to copy that formula of getting a promotional sponsor and having all their fighters wear the same gear. How would that affect you as a fighter with your sponsorships?
I do have my, the group of sponsors that keep supporting me throughout the whole, throughout my whole career, and they've been with me for a long time, and I have a few local people that are always there with me, before and after the fight. I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing, keeping the professionalism in the sport, especially with a company like the UFC. Does it, take away from some people? Sure. Does it add to some people? Yes. It's plus and minus. But with the amount of fights they got going on and the amount of the talent pool they have, I wouldn't necessarily say it's a step in the wrong direction. I'm very grateful for the sponsors I do have that are supporting me in this fight. Companies such as Vapor Zone, Street Soldier, the local laborers union. You know what I mean? And they wouldn't be able to sponsor me if I was fighting for the UFC. So I'm very grateful for where I am. And
Chris, are you still there?
yes, do you hear me?
Sorry, I thought I lost the connection there, but
no.
Last thing I heard you say was, I'm very grateful for where I am.
Yep, and it's like there's plus and minus in both situations.
It's obviously working out well in World Series fighting, and I always hear from fighters, they say Ray Cepho is a great guy to work for because he's a fighter, so he understands fighters. Yeah,
I've had a relationship with Ray for quite some time. He was training under Sean Tompkins for a period of time, and we were training partners at Extreme Couture, and then like always been a mentor. He's one of my. If you look up like some past bios of me, he was my mentor growing up in kickboxing, and one of the guys I looked up to. So it's a pleasure, working for him. He's a class act. He knows the fighters. Like I said, like you said, he knows the fighters. He knows the fight game in and out. Ray's worked my corner when I fought in Japan. So he's a great guy to have.
Speaking of Japan, favorite countries to have fought in, because you've literally been all around the world and back again. So do you have a favorite place or a favorite fight you've had in a favorite place?
Yeah, I would definitely say when I went to Japan and fought in the shoeboxing tournament, that was definitely an experience. Having done martial arts from a young age, starting in traditional karate, it meant a lot for me, to go out and make that trip to Japan and fight over there and just be submersed in the culture and the respect that they have for the martial arts. It meant a lot to me. And my trainer Sean Tompkins at the time, we both went, so it was really cool.
How did you like the cuisine and the food over there? I hear some fighters love it and some don't.
I liked it. I'm all into trying weird stuff after the fight and being adventurous. But Sean at the time, Sean was meat and potatoes, so he hated it.
Yeah, if you're a meat and potatoes guy, like having sushi and octopus may not be for you.
No, it's some funky stuff. You see some, aquariums right at the restaurant, and they're pulling the fish right out of the aquariums. So it's some funky stuff. So,
do you consider yourself a meat and potatoes guy too? I mean,
no, I'm all over the place, man. You know what I mean? Just from having traveled so much, I'm meat and potatoes, yes. But I love, like with Polish delicacy, I love that. But I love Asian food, and I love Thai and sushi and Mexican, and I love hot stuff. I love hot, and not a lot of Polish people do. And I love spice, hot stuff.
I got Norwegian roots, and I absolutely adore hot food. I think it's just having an adventurous spirit is something like when you grow up without it, then you want to try it, and you get more into it later in life.
Yeah, absolutely.
Last question I'll ask you before I let you go today, then, is like, what's the one food you've got to stay away from when you're trying to make weight for a fight? What's that like food that you have to resist the most?
Shoot, I just I kind of just separate myself from it, and you know what I mean? It's pretty easy dieting over here at TriStar just because you're surrounded by fighters that are doing the same thing. But I love I can't wait to get a good solid burrito after this fight. Like that's what I crave.
What's your favorite style of burrito? I love California burritos.
California, even when they got like the salsa dipped over it.
Yeah, and the French fries stuffed inside. Those are the best.
No, we don't got those in Canada, or not in London. That's for sure.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll try one sometime. It sounds stupid, French fries inside a burrito, but once you take a bite out of it, it's amazing.
Oh, it sounds amazing, especially right now. So.
Well, I won't give you any more temptation. Then I'll just let you plug the fight and get out any other sponsorship information or social media links, anything else you want to mention. I
appreciate it. Just thank all my sponsors that have been with me, from the beginning. Street Soldier, La Una, the Locals Laborers Union, Gamma Labs, my close friend Sean Brooks at Spray and Seal, always helping me out. Calgary Sinks. My buddy John Patterson helping me out always. And, if you want to get at me at Twitter, at Chris Horodecki, Facebook Chris Horodecki. And yeah, just come on, show your support, guys. I know Edmonton's going to be rocking. Come fight night, June 5th.
Absolutely, at the Edmonton Expo Center, and it'll be live on NBC Sports as well. So, main event facing Lance Palmer for the featherweight title. It's going to be a great fight. Chris, we look forward to seeing it. Thank you again for the time.
I appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Yep, take care. Bye-bye.
Take care.